Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody, and happy Friday. My name is Brandon with my co-host Kate, and this is Good for Bitcoin.
What's up, guys? Happy Thanksgiving to all of those in the States tuning in today. Hope you guys are having a good time. But I'm happy to be here today. It's been a week since we've had 2 weeks, I guess, since we've had the show. So, we were just talking about before this, if you miss a week, sometimes things get a little rusty and you kind of figure it out again, but we're here.
I know, I have to figure out the controls every week that we do this show. But it was a great week last week in Buenos Aires. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Really also glad to be back. I feel like I had just a lot of new inspiration, coming back from DevConnect last week. And I'm just like excited to like build on Bitcoin and to keep, driving this thing forward. But
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Well, we can get into it a little bit. And I think one reason why it was, like when we put in the focus of like, this is builder focused, we had the Hacker House, we had the Bitcoin Builders Conference. And so when you put that focus in there, I think what you get out of it also matches that. And so like we got this kind of renewed energy for people who are just like excited to be building here. There's like, if you pay attention to the timeline, it can be quite negative, and there's a lot of different like competing narratives, whether it's around price or just culture. But when you focus on people who are actually doing things, it kind of turns that negativity into positivity, I find, and it gives you a better mindset.
yeah, and we talk about it a lot on the show, actually, on how, just living in North America, we kind of take for granted a lot of the things that, people around the world value Bitcoin for a lot more, right? Inflation certainly, is much more felt down there.
Yeah.
And just like talking with people, like you like, I talked about it on like a video that I posted the other day, but like I don't think I had any conversations with anybody about like price going down. Everyone is just interested in building on Bitcoin. It's better than, whatever fiat currency that they're using, even with like the price going down, as like sentiment is on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is just interested in building and moving the ecosystem forward. And it was just really refreshing to just be in a space like, especially compared to, our time in Vegas, right? Like I also talked about that, like, with Michael Saylor being on stage and everyone like worshiping Saylor, like that type of thing would not happen at DevConnect.
No.
Like people are just interested in building and DeFi, and they don't care about ETFs or, all this like Bitcoin treasury companies. Like they just are concerned about like decentralized finance and combating inflation and all the things that, that make Bitcoin special. So it was a really, really special time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And both you and I spoke at different events. I was on the SheFi panel talking about Bitcoin, DeFi institutions. It was cool. It was actually cool. I got to meet Camilla Russo. She is the founder of Defiant News. She kind of has been around DeFi for many years. So she's seen a lot of the narratives and the trends. So it was pretty cool to be beside her. Got to meet her, she was mentioning maybe wanting to do like a docu-series on Bitcoin DeFi. So I thought that that would be like a great opportunity for Stacks to get involved. So I'm going to see if I can push her along with that. But yeah, that was a great panel. And then tell us about yours.
Yeah, I also had a panel at Multi-Chain Day, and it was with there was like four or five other people, including the moderator that was on. There was like somebody from Pith that was there, somebody from Arch, somebody from like Beefy Finance, and yeah, that was also cool. One thing that was cool is like we had the Circle announcement for Stacks, which
Yeah.
is like one of the big news items that we're gonna get into, and sort of getting to talk about that with people on the day that it was announced, and pretty much everybody I feel like that we spoke with, they're like their eyes lit up and they're like, what? And they thought that it was like so amazing,
Yeah.
that Stacks was having such a big partnership with
Yeah.
Circle, and we were getting the first stablecoin on a Bitcoin, first stablecoin from like a major player like Circle
Yeah.
on a Bitcoin L2. Really big deal. So yeah, it was a good couple days between yours and my panel, and I think also like something that I noticed during your panel and like kind of during like a lot of the events in general, like speaking with folks, is a lot of people, especially for something like DevConnect, people are traditionally like in the Ethereum world. A lot of stuff is moving into Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is
Yep.
eating up a lot of the mind share
Yeah, I know.
of these events. And like, we're a couple years now into this narrative of like BTC Fi. And like, it's really, I think, starting to catch on, and more and more people are getting interested in like DeFi on Bitcoin. And
Yeah.
it's also really cool to see.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then you and I were both at the Hacker House quite a bit. So Stacks sponsored a Hacker House. We brought 11 teams, I think it was 11 in total, that were building different projects on Stacks. And we brought them all together. And it was a week of building and learning and presenting. And we did a workshop at the Hacker House about marketing, which was, I've talked about a little bit. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to, share things that I've learned that I know. People are probably going to be like, okay, cool, whatever. 30 minutes in and out. And we ended up having like a 2-hour discussion about marketing as a first time builder or getting your first users when you're super small and kind of like a solo founder. So that was a really, I don't know what the word is, not eye-opening, but it was cool. Like it was almost validating in a way that people need this knowledge and like it's on their mind. And I think we have a really cool opportunity here to really help some people. And, not even just within Bitcoin, but I feel like it can be applied much broader as well. But that was a very cool experience.
It was a very cool experience. Yeah, I think that was the whole Hacker House experience was what sort of inspired me the most out of everything
Yeah,
there. Like
totally.
shout out to Ileana and to Adam and Eric
Yeah.
and Kenny and Shannon and like everybody that, had a hand in making that successful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it was, I think like, yeah, eye-opening isn't the right word, but like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it, just like I am not a developer, right? A lot of developers are not marketers.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a completely different skill set. So to hear from, somebody that's like on the other side of that to I guess was valuable. It was maybe more valuable than we expected it to be, just because we
Yeah.
kind of take it for granted a little bit because we're just doing marketing every day. But yeah, I think it also showed like, we need to do more of this. I think like we want to do some virtual ones in the future
Yeah.
because there was just such an interest, I think,
Yeah.
in person. So I think we want to do some more virtual ones soon. Stay tuned, I guess.
Very excited for that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of all came to a close with the Bitcoin Builders Conference. This was also a Stacks event that we put on. And there was a few panels with folks within Stacks, there was Andre did a panel with someone from Near Foundation. That one was pretty cool. And then at the end of it, all of the hackers that were in the Hacker House presented their pitches. I think they were given 3 minutes to present their project. And that was really cool experience for them, but also for us, and especially us who were kind of in the house seeing how their projects were coming along throughout the week, to see them like pull it off in the end, and sort of the progression that they made throughout the week was really remarkable.
Yeah, I think it was really amazing to see. Progression is the right word, like how much progress they made just in that short 1 week time frame, from day 1 to day 5. I think it was like 5 days.
Yeah.
I think we were all just like so proud of them. Like
Yeah.
I was even getting like emotional during some of them, just like because I know how far they've come. Like a lot of I think most of the people that were there, they were like winners, or if not winners, like finalists in previous like hackathons and previous things. So
Yeah.
there was like the turnkey events that were done, and there was like some specific like LATAM events that were done, and like the Stacks Ascent, and like so a lot of the people that were there for this were previously winners of those events. So they were kind of continuing to expand and continuing to build. I'm just going to go back to like how inspiring it was. It was really, really cool to see that full arc between, them, starting their projects and kind of finishing with an MVP and a presentation on what it is. And we did also a ton of interviews when we were there. I think, talked to every single builder that was at that hacker house, which I'm really proud of, that we were able to do that. That was a busy day for us. But there's a lot of really good content that's going to be coming, I think, starting next week from all those events. So just got me really, really excited, really energized to, we are kind of in like this bear market time, and bear markets are like the time to build. And it's the best times, I think, in my opinion. Like it's the times where like the people that really care about this space stay, and the people that don't care about this space go, and they'll be back because the price will go up again eventually, because it always does. But in the meantime, like we're all still here, and we're building, and these are the types of people that I want to be around.
Totally. Yeah. You had left for the airport already, but we had sort of like a farewell barbecue on the roof. And for those of you who are listening, there was a lot of people in the house where English is obviously not their first language. And some like really relied on translators to do their work. And obviously we're all communicating in English. So to see sort of how people were able to like overcome that was really cool. But basically at the barbecue at the end, one of the hackers, he wrote his whole message out in Spanish, translated it to English, and then read it aloud. And he was getting emotional, and then I started getting emotional, and it was just this really like nice experience. And obviously, like you want people to get into Bitcoin for how it can change their financial situation, but also for people who are like developing an ecosystem, like that has a huge impact on changing their life. And so I think his whole message was like, thank you for this opportunity, because without this, I might have taken a much different path. And I don't know, it was just very inspiring to see like he's communicating in a language that is foreign to him. It's not his first language. And then to like see the opportunity that he had, it was, I was tearing up for sure.
Yeah, I was bummed that I missed that, because it looked like a really, really awesome time. And I, in retrospect, probably could have gone and attended it anyway, because I was like trying to get home after the Bitcoin Builders Conference, and my flight ended up getting delayed on the way back. My layover got delayed several times on the way back. So there were like people that left the following morning that got home before I did, which is like
crazy,
kind of a bummer. So yeah, I got home eventually, but it looked like a good time. Yeah, they definitely took care of the hackers while they were there. For those that don't know, it was like this hostel that they had rented out completely, and they hired like a private chef to be there and like to cook like breakfast, lunch, and dinner for everybody while that was going on. So for those that say Stacks doesn't care about builders, definitely not the case in Buenos Aires. It was really impressive, and they deserved it. Like, they worked so hard.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was really, it was a good time.
Good time. All right, well, let's dive into the news that we've been missing over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, we missed a big one last week with Strategy. They made a really big purchase of Bitcoin. Again, it's been a while since they've made one of these. So they bought 8,178 BTC. I feel like over the past, like, it's almost been like months at this point, they've kind of been buying like maybe 100 or so every week. So this is a really big one. So they now hold 649,000, almost 650,000 Bitcoin. And 84% of that purchase of the 8,000 BTC was generated from that new European issued STRE that they issued a few weeks ago that we talked about. So their different instruments for buying Bitcoin keep working, I guess. They're just buying all the Bitcoin, I guess, that everyone else is selling.
Very cool. Then we have Nakamoto. They invested 367 Bitcoin into other international companies like Treasury, Metaplanet, and technically that's bringing down their total Bitcoin holdings.
Yeah, there was some FUD on the timeline that Nakamoto sold some Bitcoin, which is technically true, I guess. But then David Bailey was like, "We didn't sell. We just moved it over here." But if you look at the counts, like, technically, they have less Bitcoin than they used to. So that's something to watch out for, I guess.
And then speaking of Metaplanet, they took out a $130 million loan from their Bitcoin-backed credit line. And what do you think they're going to do with it? They're going to buy more Bitcoin and also potentially support share buybacks, but they are bullish.
Yeah, I think we have, like, every 4 years, there's something that happens that crashes the price, and it feels like we're slowly getting to the point where, if these companies are starting to take out loans to buy more Bitcoin, and what if the price of Bitcoin crashes and they have to liquidate, and that will further bring down the Bitcoin price. Like, it feels like we're building up to a new moment,
a lot of leverage
like that. Yeah, it's just another example of leverage. Like, we saw that a few years ago with, like, FTX and all the fallout that came from that. And maybe this time will be different, but I don't know. When I see $130 million loan to buy Bitcoin, it's a little scary.
Yeah.
Brandon Green also on the Nakamoto news was appointed CEO of BTC Inc. And David Bailey will remain as chairman. And I think Nakamoto still has the option of purchasing BTC Inc. In the future. But David Bailey, I guess, is, because he's no longer CEO of BTC Inc., he's going to hopefully have more time to, figure out how to not sell Bitcoin with Nakamoto and keep acquiring more. But
you can take this one.
Yeah, it's a good time. I'll just share my screen. It's a good time to, I think we haven't looked at, like, mNAV in a while. And for those that don't know, mNAV is basically the sort of ratio between how much Bitcoin a company is holding versus what their, like, publicly traded market cap is. And for the longest time, Strategy was positive mNAV. And kind of going back to, like, this credit crunch, we're seeing a lot of these companies, most of these companies are worth less than the Bitcoin that they're holding. So Strategy is no longer above, 1 on mNAV. We got Marathon below. There's a few, that are still up. We have, like, 21. Metaplanet is, like, slightly at 1 still. But then there's also, like, there's a lot of these companies that are really, really, really low in their mNAV. And it's just interesting to see, I don't know if there's like a way to like very easily see like an average mNAV graph. And some of these are a little bit harder to compare. Like Tesla, for example, is like, they obviously do a lot more than just hold Bitcoin. Like, so their mNAV
Yeah.
is crazy. So you can't like look at mNAV for every single company that's out there. But for some of these ones where like kind of their sole purpose is just to like hold Bitcoin and to acquire more, it's pretty interesting to see. So like if you have conviction in some of these and the mNAV is below 1, like it could be a good time to buy. But yeah, I mean it's just a little risky. If you're buying, you just have to be careful, I guess, is the main thing. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these other ones. Semler is like 70%. GameStop, like you can't really like compare GameStop because they obviously have another whole huge operating business and they do a lot more than just Bitcoin. But yeah, it's pretty interesting just to get a check on mNAV. That's the strategy is the main one where they were above 1 for the longest time and they dipped below recently with this like kind of latest dip under 100K for the Bitcoin price. So something to keep an eye on.
I'll actually, while we jump into like our next segment, just because it relates to strategy a lot. So I'll kick it off. So I don't know if you've ever heard of MSCI. They're one of the biggest index providers in the world. And they are going to be reviewing whether companies that hold a huge chunk of their assets in Bitcoin or like other crypto assets should still qualify as operating companies for index inclusion, because right now funds, so basically they're considering a company that holds like a certain amount of Bitcoin or digital assets to be sorry, I'm like getting sidetracked. They're considering a company that holds like more Bitcoin or digital assets to be
it's
fund,
almost like they're just like a holding company, but they're not like a company in the traditional sense. So it's like hard to like evaluate them as like a, compared to like a Microsoft, for example.
Exactly. And so like funds are also not allowed, their funds are not allowed to be included like in this index. And so they're evaluating whether these companies are basically on par with other investment funds. And right now, obviously, strategy is included in that. But if the MSCI basically removes that designation, then a lot of index tracking funds would have to pull their funds from strategy, which could risk like billions and billions of dollars from their shares, which could also like really affect their price. So that was like an interesting story that I saw. Sorry, I had like a crazy like brain checkout.
No, I'm just going to mention this really quick so I can stop sharing my screen and we can talk about it more. But Bitcoin Treasuries does have a chart showing mNAV. So for strategy, their mNAV hasn't been below 1 since February 2024. So it's been above that this whole time, and now it's like back down, which is interesting. So make with that what you will, I guess, if you think that it's undervalued or valued appropriately based on that. But interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's these Bitcoin treasury companies. It's sort of just this new class of companies where it's not an ETF. It's not quite like regular kind of publicly traded like company that's normally like operating like an Apple or Microsoft. So I think it makes sense to sort of treat them differently. But I don't know. I guess like it's interesting because it's like strategy, they still do have like a B2B like SaaS kind of business for like business analytics and stuff, but it's such a small chunk now of their business compared to like their Bitcoin strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, it could definitely affect like a lot of companies who have this sort of strategy of just like acquiring Bitcoin, and like that is, like you said, a lot of that Bitcoin is actually worth more than the company itself. So it's kind of like this gray area of like, is it an investment fund? Is it a company? Like, what is it? But it could have some pretty big implications if it's not allowed to be included in those indices.
Yeah, and the reason that a company, could be worth less than the Bitcoin that it's holding is if, people could speculate that maybe the company might need to sell that Bitcoin in the future. Maybe they're not able to like cover their debts and they need to sell it off to pay some of their debts. And if they do that, if the company is big enough and their Bitcoin holdings are large enough, like that could send the price of Bitcoin down if they have to, if they're forced to sell it. So
Exactly.
that's, another reason why like mNAVs are less, because people could be speculating, like it's almost like a poly market trade of like, are they speculating whether or not, these companies might have to sell some of their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll see. We haven't seen a huge cascade yet, but it does feel like we're starting to see like some cracks with some of these companies. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Nakamoto can say, that they're just moving some Bitcoin around, but like it's the Bitcoin. What is like the, it's like the Bitcoin per share, right? Like if you're removing Bitcoin from your balance sheet, even if
Yeah.
you're using that Bitcoin to buy some other, company that has Bitcoin on their balance sheet, it's still reducing that number, which is what they like talk about so much is like, we're increasing Bitcoin per share and that's what we're trying to grow. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see. But we can go back to some big Stacks news because we've had a couple good announcements. The big one was last week, but we've had another SBTC related one this week. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, a huge one is the Circle news. So Circle had has a new product that they're coming out with called X Reserve, and basically it's a Circle. It's coming directly from Circle, so it's not like a third party that's like bridging USDC tokens. It's coming directly from Circle. The attestations are directly from Circle. For all intents and purposes, it's effectively USDC. It's just like a bridged version, but the bridged version is offered directly by Circle. But Stacks is one of the two first blockchains that this is coming to. So Stacks will have a USDC backed stablecoin very soon. I think it's like coming like next month, or if it's not next month, it's like very, very, very early January. But yeah, this is super exciting. Basically, it's fully interoperable with native USDC. That was also a big trending word in a DevConnect. I feel like was talking about interoperability. It's a really, really big topic. But just again, like having USDC and like a native kind of version of USDC on Stacks is huge for liquidity, right? To be able to very easily bridge your USDC from other chains into Stacks, and you're doing it through Circle, so you have like one less third party to trust because you're just having to trust Circle and not Circle plus like another company to bridge. So it's a big deal, and yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I think a lot of Stacks users are pretty excited about this because if you have currently tried to use AEUSDC on Stacks, you can know can be a headache sometimes. If you're using the All Bridge and you have to have Ethereum and you have to have an Ethereum wallet, it's just, when we talk about like the user experience being clunky and annoying, that's like a very prime example is bridging USDC into Stacks using AEUSDC. So this is going to be very exciting. I'm like, honestly, I can't wait for this to launch and to see how the liquidity will flow in. And you just get some like user testimonials about it, see like what people like about it, how their lives have improved from this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've used the Allbridge bridge a few times, and like it works, but like you're paying, the fees are high. Because Allbridge is also having to take a cut for the service of bridging. So I expect fees to be a lot lower, on a product like this versus something like Allbridge. The Allbridge bridge is being depreciated, and it's going to be moved over into this new product as well. So there's just going to be one unified tier 1 stablecoin that's available on Stacks. It's going to be just a really solid experience. I'm also really interested to see how like exchanges end up treating these X Reserve stable coins, because if you're depositing or if you're withdrawing USDC from like Coinbase, for example, right? It's like, what network do you want to use? And obviously, I think every exchange, every blockchain, everybody wants like the smoothest UX experience possible. So hopefully, there's like a more like native kind of built-in way to like withdraw to like an X reserve chain from a place like Coinbase. So you can have just more seamless, onboarding there. But either way, it's going to really improve the onboarding experience, and a lot more liquidity is going to be able to enter the system. So
Yeah.
it's great news.
Awesome. Well, we'll have a lot more to come on that. And as things get launched, we'll obviously be sharing them and talking about them, and obviously sharing how people are using it and how it's making their lives easier.
Totally. And we also had the news with MEXC. Actually, I don't know how. Are you supposed to like say it like MEXC?
I think.
But anyway, they're one of the largest exchanges out there. I think they're like top 10 in trading volume most weeks. And SPTC is now trading on MEXC as well. So added to another exchange, and more to come, of course. But cool to see SPTC continuing. And what's also nice about it is like I think we talked about this when was it Gate that was the first one.
I think so.
For an exchange to support something like SBTC, that means that they now technically support like SIP10 tokens on stacks.
Yep.
So it also, clears the way on the infrastructure side for, potentially more stacks tokens to be supported in the future. And that would be a lot easier for them to do. So it's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I think the trading pair is SBTC USDT on MEXC. I think that's the trading pair, which is great.
Cool.
All right, this one was fun. I saw this morning that Texas bought the dip.
Love to see it.
They are the first state to officially purchase Bitcoin for their strategic reserve. So how it worked is they made a $5 million investment last week, and they used BlackRock's IBIT ETF, and they're planning to buy another 5 million. And they say they want to do the next 5 million in a self-custodial way. They just need to sort of figure out their system for doing so, because obviously it's a little bit complicated. It's such a large institutional organization buying Bitcoin in a self-custody way. So that'll be exciting to see how they figure this one out. Maybe they'll end up just buying it again through BlackRock's ETF, but pretty cool.
It is very cool. Yeah, strategic Bitcoin reserves at the state level. Pretty awesome.
I mean, I also have a note here about Wyoming last year made like a huge purchase of IBIT. I think that was last May, but this was through their state investment fund. And so like that's different than their strategic Bitcoin reserve, like those SBRs that we were talking about for so long. So I feel like this Texas one is like the official reserve purchase of all the states.
Yeah, slightly more like real. Well, I guess it's still IBIT, but a little bit more real Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah.
Price exposure, at least.
Exactly.
More state news. We saw the New Hampshire Business Finance Authority has approved the world's first BTC-backed municipal bond. The BTC will be custodied by BitGo, so that's super cool. That is like, it's a real Bitcoin, not just paper Bitcoin. And the fees from the transaction will support the creation of the Bitcoin Economic Development Fund, which will allow the Business Finance Authority to reinvest in programs that promote business growth and financial innovation across New Hampshire. So that's pretty cool. They're not just they're using their Bitcoin, right? They're using their Bitcoin to like to fund growth in the state, which is really neat.
New Hampshire W. We love to see it. And then we can end it off with this one, the infamous PubKey. Obviously, they've always operated in New York City, but they just opened up a DC location. So for those of you who don't know, PubKey is like a Bitcoin-themed bar. They host a lot of different events, Bitcoiner chats. And so they just opened up a new location in DC, a few blocks from the White House. And I guess the Treasury Secretary, Scott
There he is.
Bessent, went on opening night. And obviously that kind of blew up on Twitter a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah. Congrats to
I'm
PubKey.
sure, yeah, congrats. I'm sure there will be a ton of events from now evermore.
Yeah, excited to see. Hopefully, Shaylee's in DC, so hopefully we can kind of get some some inside,
Yeah.
you know, something going on there, and good, you know, good place to rub elbows with people, I guess, that are informing legislation.
It's funny.
But yeah, I think that wraps it up for the week. It's kind of a quiet week this week with the Thanksgiving holiday, but yeah, also just recapping all the stuff that happened last week. And it's a good time to be building on Bitcoin. I guess that's
Certainly
what I'll
is.
say.
I'm excited for next week. We'll start sharing a lot more of the Hacker House content, and yeah, just showing what people are up to and what's going on behind the scenes in Stacks.
Totally. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We will see y'all next week. Yeah, go subscribe to our show, goodforbitcoin.com. Find us on all the podcast apps, and we're also streaming live on Twitter, also on YouTube at Good for Bitcoin. Just search Good for Bitcoin. You can find us on there, and we'll see y'all next week.
Awesome. See you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.